Hashtag what?
Hashtag blame art. That's a new campaign that we're running. Hashtag blame art.
Y'all really not going to have me to kick around to once Phoenix is gone. That's crazy.
No, buddy, you're not going to be talking F1. That's what we're going to be doing.
I was thinking about it on the way home. I was like, damn, Danny the smart one. One of the series is already done. F1 only got like 4 more races, and then she just get to kick her feet up until fucking April. It's a bitch.
I remain respectfully silent. That's all.
This is some bullshit here. Oh, well.
If I speak,
I
will be in big trouble. I don't want to be in big trouble, so I don't speak.
Well, Peyton got us on the clock, so
I like how anytime I'm like, hey, can we go? It's like we piddle paddle in here when we want to. But when Peyton's like, hey, I gotta go, everyone's like, oh shit, fuck, all right, everyone, clear the deck chairs, we gotta go. God dang.
Peyton has a clear plan. He's like, look, y'all. I'm cooking dinner and Peyton I got cookies,
y'all.
I want my cookies warm. They don't have to be hot. You better hurry that ass up.
And all of a sudden now we gotta, move heaven and earth,
How does it become a me problem?
I just don't appreciate
Art is acting Mexican. It's fine. Just ignore him.
It's not that it's your fault, Peyton. I just don't like how everyone acts like when I say, hey, can we get a little earlier? Like I gotta be up early. I want to go to bed. They just, drag their feet, piss and moan, don't want to answer.
Move later to accommodate voices.
Peyton says he got cookies though. Damn the consequences.
He always got cookies. I want him to have hot cookies.
They're pre-made. I just want to be able to eat the cookies.
They're not even fresh. See there.
Well, I made them yesterday before I passed out trying to watch a movie. Anywho, I want to be able to eat my cookies and then go to bed at a decent hour.
I'm leaving all this in.
You don't even cut out the stuff that you say you're going to. It's obviously the same.
Well, I'm saying I'm leaving it in. I'm telling you, this is the opposite. Which means I'll actually cut it out.
That's terrible. What an awful producer. Carl, where are you? Can you come back, please? Your help is
wow.
The farmhand you hired, sir. This man is evil.
Okay,
oh my God.
Come back.
Jesus.
You playing with fire now.
You think someone who looks like Art would be in the farm?
You know what?
I'm keeping this in, Peyton. I hope your church hears this.
Oh my God.
What's the address? I'm gonna drop about a dozen thumb drives of this recording scattered across your church parking lot. Where is it?
I'm saying this because you were a slight and delicate man. You're not a bulky, stocky guy. I think I just saved myself.
I can't breathe.
I think I saved myself. We're good. Hey, how about we this show?
Man.
No, I need a different size of tap dancing shoes because those ain't fit.
Y'all ready to talk some racing?
I got tears in my
Payne the new superstar, man. He the new Bonte. That's crazy.
What?
He just comes in.
Cursing, though.
He dictates the show. He dictates the show start time. He gets to insult the hardworking back of the show without any consequence. And then, he just keeps it moving. He just keeps the stage like, all right, anyway.
We clipping that for socials. That's funny.
Shit.
That is funny.
Pardon
me. You're the new superstar. That's crazy, man. I lost Bonte and Carl.
Oh, damn.
Except I won't stumble into like a hit tweet like every fiscal quarter.
That's true.
There's still time.
Didn't Q4 just start? How does it start?
Your legs under you. You just got ascended to the throne, so you got some time to be in the lab. That's crazy, man.
He curses a lot on Maine, though. I can't live that.
And yet you're still. Never mind. I almost went there.
So here's the thing.
Go ahead.
So I've got ADD. I take medication, and that thing I take that medication right around let's be honest, about 7:20 a.m. as I'm head out the door. It's got about a 12-hour window where it's working. We're well past that, so yeah, it's a little bit less filtered. So I might just be costing myself a career here. I still don't feel like I've said anything that
Your
wrong.
hometown gonna look at you different. That's all I'm gonna say.
No, they're not. They'll probably.
They'll probably what? Finish that sentence.
I said, I think it's time to start the show.
That's what I thought you said. That's exactly what I thought you said. All right.
Sitting here holding me hostage, just blackmail with the stupid things I say.
This is the latest theme start we'll ever have. We're like 6 minutes in.
Oh man. Oh well. Don't want to last it. Let's do adulting.
Hey, what's up, y'all? This is former NASCAR driver Bill Lester.
Bob Cockers.
I'm NASCAR driver Natalie Decker.
NASCAR's Chief Hype Officer Mamba Smith.
And you're listening to Victory Lane.
Victory Lane.
Victory Lane. Victory Lane Vibe. Let's go.
376, Antron Brown is the Top Fuel champion.
Just praying for it. There it is. Raja Caruth wins it at Las Vegas. First career win, gets it done.
You stayed in the game, and it was just one step, one punch, one round at a time, and my guys had me a great stop, and we just executed. So there's more to come for sure.
His final time through 3 and 4. He's gonna do it. Bubba Wallace wins at Kansas.
Ready? What they gonna say now, baby? Let's go!
He is the man who raises the bar, who raises the stats, who takes things to stratospheric levels, and he's only got 3 corners now. He can see the crowd standing and giving him that round of applause. 8 times we've said it before. Here's a 9th for you. Lewis Hamilton wins the British Grand Prix. What a victory! Hamilton is back.
Welcome to another episode of Victory Lane Vibes. We are your hostesses with the mostesses. We are here post Talladega. Apparently there were some wings missing and some what do you call them things you put on the windshield? The fins. There were some fins missing. But we're not missing. We're still here. Hello. It's Jared, it's Art. Kiana's back. Peyton's back. We have a full house to talk about this weekend's shenanigans. Sorry. First things first, wanted to give a shout out to LeVar Scott, getting Rookie of the Year, finishing second in the arc of points in his rookie campaign. Shout out to the Drive for Diversity program. Shout out Rev Racing. Excited to see what he's going to do next year in ARCA, hopefully without Connor and so while it's there, he should make some noise, hopefully. So shout out the bar. The invitation's open. You ever want to swing by the vibes and let us interview you? Your tickets in the mail, But with that, let's talk about Raja's playoff saving day at Talladega. So he ended up with the pit road speeding penalty, which landed him in the trenches. And somehow, some way, he moved, or I should say, avoided heaven, earth, and trucks, and ended up finishing with the top 5 finish sideways across the finish line. Grant Enfinger wins his second year in the row at Talladega, and that was the truck race. Playoff standings for Dim Trucks as it stands now. Aforementioned Raja's masterfulness has him only outside of the cut line by 5 points. Grant Enfinger locks his way into the next round. Corey Heim's second. Christian Eckers third. Majeski has a 5-point advantage over Raja Caruth. Then 13 back to the cut line is Taylor Gray. 20 back is Nick Sanchez. He didn't have a good day, and neither did Tyler Ankrum. He is 23 points back of the cut line. Questions, comments, and concerns, opinions on the truck race Friday afternoon. That was still strange to say. Friday afternoon at Talladega.
That was literally the worst part, was Friday afternoon. I can't, it didn't feel right. It just felt like I wasn't supposed to be watching it. I don't know. I really hope someday, somewhere in the future, we will get proper night races at Talladega. It'd be wonderful.
I'll go. I don't have any thoughts for the race because I didn't watch it. Because it's on at 4:30 p.m.
Right. Like I was barely
gonna lie.
Y'all don't have DVRs?
I'm not gonna pretend.
I mean,
I'm not gonna pretend at all like I watched it. I just want to say, if we can put man on the moon, if we can put a robot on Mars, then we can put lights around Talladega. Like, you can't tell me that this isn't possible. I don't want to hear about the power grid. You've been a track for 30 years. Just dig some holes and lay some power lines. I beg. I'm a simple man. I just want the option to watch a race at a decent hour, not while I'm still on the clock. So no, I didn't watch it. That's all I got.
I did watch it.
Thank you for your honesty. What did you think, Peyton?
Unremarkable. The biggest things that I highlighted from this, and I watched it, and then I had to watch the highlights again and realize, man, outside of Raja, there wasn't a whole lot going on, except one, Sanchez must have gotten the blessing from Daniel Dye saying, hey, I'm always in the action. Why don't you always be in the action? He was in at least 2 good wrecks in front of the field and managed to not write off a truck. That's a talent and skill. And unfortunately, I couldn't even blame Sanchez for either of those. He just got sort of pushed in bad spots. So, yeah, he definitely was filling in that Daniel Dye role in the race where you're just sort of always in the action. But huge shout out to Grant Enfinger and that team. I really thought they were going to see once GMS folded last year. I did not expect for him to do as well as he's done so far this year, because the current team he's on, CR7, is not a big or well-established team. In their history, which I think dates back to roughly the late 2010s, they have established, or they've put together a win, and this was it. So from then to essentially have no wins prior to this, to now being locked into the championship round. And I don't know whether they are the favorite going in. I would not say they are the favorite, because you still have, the Corey Heims and the Majeskis of the world going into potentially Phoenix. But to be locked in early and for them to be able to allocate all of their resources in getting ready for Phoenix, that's a huge thing. And yeah, it would be I don't know if it would be an upset if they won the title, because it's still Grant Enfinger, but I think this is going to be really, really interesting to see what they can do at Phoenix with 2 weeks to prepare. So, yeah, great job by them.
And we have to wait 3 weeks. They get to stretch their legs and rebuild the trucks and do all that fun stuff. We won't see the truck series again until they go to Homestead. Hopefully, Milton doesn't make a mess and blow Homestead to Jacksonville. More on that later. Moving on to another afternoon race and for the Xfinity series. So I tried to watch this. Stage 2 got lost. All I heard was, there's a wreck in the tri-oval. And apparently SVG and Austin Hill and several other people got murdered. Carson Quapple got murdered to send the race in the overtime, which leaves JRM, Homestayer, Sammy Smith getting the win in Xfinity series. And Art's boy got disqualified for being cheated up. His car is too low, and he got sent to the slammer, leaving the.
Why are you laughing, Jared?
That's terrible.
Why are you laughing, Jared? Tell us the story. Tell the joke.
No, I'm gonna do my part first. So that leaves the playoff standings after Talladega. Sammy Smith locks his way into the next round. Chandler Smith is, I don't know how, second, because he got tore up. Cole Cuss is third. Austin Hill, more affectionately known as names I can't say on air, is fourth. Sheldon Creed is fifth. Jesse Love is sixth. Riley Herbst is seventh. AJ Allmendinger is eighth on the bubble. Justin Allgaier -7, SVG -10, Sam Mayer -13, and Parker Klickerman -16 to the cut going into The Roval. Thoughts, feelings, opinions on the Xfinity race. Yeah, go ahead, Art. Yeah, unmute first. Yeah. Go first.
Thanks.
Talk about them springs being low.
I mean, at this point in the season, I don't care. It's whatever.
Real.
To actually talk about the topic at hand. Happy for Sammy Smith. I think that's a great win for him. I think what's the saying, from the outhouse to the penthouse or something like that, right? Wasn't he last, I think, in the points? And last in the points, and now locked himself into the next round. This is to the round of 8, yes, for Xfinity, yes. He advanced to the round of 8. So that's a big win, and there's only one race left in this cutoff, so I care less about this race because everyone I liked didn't do well. So I selfishly was not excited about that. There was a lot of calamity and catastrophe, especially at the end. Eric Almirola suffered, which pleased me greatly. I'm very happy for that anytime. But really, the thing that I think about most of this race is just looking ahead to next week. You've got Allmendinger -10. Allgaier has just fallen off the map, right? -18. And Shane at -21. Now we're going to the Roval, so I feel very confident. Actually, that's changed too, right? That was the points before.
Yes, I just read the
Sam got DQ. I don't listen to you.
Clearly, no cues, no nothing, but go off.
But yeah, so I fully expect Shane to be able to point his way in. My fear would always just be if you're in that 8th spot and then somehow there's a new winner. But I mean, someone between that combination of Jesse Love, Riley Hurst, maybe even Sheldon Creed, like someone's gonna have a disaster. Like this course is tailor built for disasters and shippings and sendings into the cheap seats. So but I feel confident that Shane can probably qualify well and get some stage points and probably do enough to point his way in. So I feel good about him for next week. But yeah, it was a Talladega race. It was okay. It was all right, as Bonte would say. The spirit of Bonte lives on. He's not dead. He just won't come back on the show for some reason. I don't know why. But it was all right, though.
Damn well why. Christopher Bell ain't won the race since never. Kiana, what you think of the race?
One of them shows, y'all. One of them shows.
No, yeah, I agree. I would like to see Shane get to the next round. That's like top of mind for me. I want him to go as far as he can in his first time because I think it's amazing. But I want to see Shane and I want to see Allgaier get into the round of 8. So I mean, somebody up there got to get collected next week. Sorry, but that's who I want to see in the playoffs. I want to see what Shane can do, but he's been doing great. I mean, it's been really fun to watch him, and it's fun to watch him really start to figure out these ovals too. I think that's like the most thrilling part for me, really watching Xfinity now, is seeing how Shane is going to do on the ovals. I already know he's going to do great on the road course. Not worried about that. But the oval performance, like, he's been cooking. And that's just like, it is the coolest thing to watch, knowing where he came from and the type of racing he normally does, to see him like really starting to think. You can see starting to strategize. Like, he's figuring it out, and he's going to be dangerous when he really starts to get it and it starts to click. I feel like there are still people who don't understand like how smart this man is and how talented he is. And that's why he's already making huge moves. Like, yeah, okay, he got into the playoffs because of the road course wins, but his oval performance now is starting to get like really, really good. So, yeah, I wish he didn't get caught up in all that mess. But other than that, I mean, he was looking pretty good. So, yeah, I'm excited to see that. But yeah, poor Justin, he's just he got completely ruined. But I love him, and I really want him to stay in the playoffs. So yeah, I'm hoping the two of them can have a good week next week.
You ever watch something and you think while you're watching you're having a good time, and then you go back and watch the highlights and you realize, actually, damn, that was kind of boring. That was my whole experience with the Xfinity series. Because I tell you, folks, I'm trying to be positive. It's not New Year, New Peyton, because the year's almost over, but I'm trying to be positive about, I'm going to call it restrictor plate racing, because I think overall it's wholly stupid. And so I was trying to be more positive about this, and, remembering they don't lock bumpers, and it does allow, to a degree, where they can get bigger runs and everything, but the moment you get out of line, you just get escorted to the back, so you can't really be super adventurous. So anyway, the race overall was relatively unremarkable, but I will go ahead and point out my key highlight as a fan of the team and the driver, Sammy Smith. Thought they really, really needed that. And as so far as you can take momentum or a good feeling from a restrictor plate race, because here's the thing, these races are kind of wonky. I don't think the winner of the Cup Series race is going to parlay this to a big late season push. This result is not exactly indicative of what you've been doing, except here I do think that 8 team, they have not been happy with the way their season has gone. They had higher expectations going in. Mind you, there's a lot to be said, but from switching teams, it can be difficult because you're talking new crew chief, you're talking new personnel, new engineers, everything that goes in involved with that. But I know overall it just doesn't seem like Sammy and I guess the folks around him have been, it's just been a tough season. So it is definitely good for them to be able to get that win and then have some time to sort of focus on the next few races. So not having to worry about the Roval, instead being able to look forward to Homestead, look forward to a Martinsville, places where he has run quite well. It will be interesting. I think it may be a bit too late in the season for them to really make a big threat, but hey, anything can happen. They have shown improved performances over the past couple races. I don't think they are championship threat, but it is a nice momentum builder for them, just in the sense of it's good to get some points on the board and start thinking about, hey, we can maybe make a decent finish this season, but also feel better headed into next year. So that was the biggest thing for me, was just really, really good to see that 8 car get a win.
Well said. Like how you did that. Then moving on to yesterday. So I want you to imagine. So close your eyes. Walk with me. Close your eyes. There's a toddler in the middle of the living room floor. He has a toy basket filled with Hot Wheels cars. He dumps them all out. And there's your finish for yesterday for the the Cup race. We're done. Moving on to 2011 corner. So that was rude. There was another photo finish. This track actually has a straight painted finish line by 6 thousandths of a second. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. goes from brawl at the hauler to victory lane, capturing his first win of the year. Brad Keselowski with his finless car finishes second. William Byron finishes third. I'm just looking at the picture here. Kyle Larson was fourth. Eric Jones was fifth. Shout out to the man who bet that insane bet. I would never waste my money that way. But he bet $5 to have Ricky as the highest finishing Chevrolet, Brad as the highest finishing Ford, and Eric Jones as the highest finishing Toyota. And I'll be damned if that man didn't turn $5 into $7,000 off that bullshit. I wouldn't do no shit like that. But anyway, that was the.
Do you think their cat just attacked the keyboard and made those picks? Who the hell makes those picks?
I never would have picked like those three.
That's not $5 worth of picking. 50 cents. I'm for it. But $5 American dollars. You get for $5.
Inflation's happening a lot, but $5 is still way too much of my damn money.
$5 is a lot of money. Boy lost his mind. Anywho, it won't let me see the. Here we go with the NASCAR website being ugly again.
Man, that website is terrible.
I'm trying to pull the playoff standings so we can talk about it. Another driver outside of the chase won. Fantastic news for Denny. Fantastic news for Tyler Reddick. They owe Ricky Stenhouse about Ace of Spades, honestly. It won't update. Like, it says this is after Talladega, but it won't give me the there's no cut line.
Oh my gosh.
This is so aggravating.
What are you
We are
I guess William Byron's leading the points.
Yeah.
Yes,
Bell
because
second.
he clinched
Byron Bell, Larson, Hamlin, Bowman,
Bowman,
Elliott.
Blaney dropped due to malfeasance of the 48 driver. Yeah, I said it. Malfeasance.
Don't get me started.
Tyler's 7th, Chase's 8th, Joey's 9th. Penske had a bad beat this weekend.
Do not get me started.
Daniel Suarez didn't listen to a spotter, went 4 wide middle and wrecked himself. Austin Cindric is 11th and Chase Briscoe. So I hope, please, everybody, shout out to Andrew, because he is the only person I know that puts these in-car reviews up. Please watch this 5-minute video. The spotter begged Daniel, don't go middle.
That
don't
was
go
insane.
Middle. Shade the top. Don't go middle. Stay at the bottom. Don't go middle. What'd he do? Caused a wreck. Wrecked himself. But yeah, that was, other than that, this car doesn't race well on super speedways. We know it. The fin kept him off the ground when all 20 of them piled up. Thank you, I guess, NASCAR. But this, I'm with Peyton. I'm tired of this. Can we do something else? Don't turn this into a road course track. But can we do something else? I need something different. That was my takeaway. Not y'all can speak, but that was boring.
I don't even know if it was like, that was the thing. Like I wasn't like totally bored like I was with kind of like parts of Xfinity and trucks, but it just, I don't know. It was meh. Like that's how I felt. Like it was just meh. Like, and it's frustrating because I mean it's Talladega. Like oh God, I don't know. I don't know what to do. But yeah, it was very underwhelming. And get this build up like all season. Oh, Talladega's coming. It's in the playoffs. Talladega's coming. And then we get that, and it's just like, what are we doing? Like what are we doing? And when it gets to the point that the drivers are pretty much saying the same thing, like we've got a problem. And I don't know. Like everything just feels lost. It just feels like it's uninspired. I don't know. There's just nothing. But yeah, it's frustrating. But they're gonna have to have a come to Jesus moment at some point and realize that the fans are unhappy, the drivers are unhappy, the teams are unhappy. Like this is just, it can't keep going like this. It's not sustainable. Shout out to my boy Austin Cindric though, because he had it. He got very, very, very screwed at the end, and I'm still mad about it. I'm gonna shut up. But Blaney too, I feel for both of them because they both would have had really great days. We're doing great, absolutely cooking out there, and just get completely destroyed. By drivers who will not be named, but
Why does Blaney always take those super hard cartoon style hits? Like,
I don't know.
He
It's
gets lit up every time he crashes. I remember at Nashville a couple years ago, hit that inside rotator, well, bam!
Yeah,
thought he was dead.
Like I don't understand. It's like I'm like holding my breath with every race now because I'm just like, Jesus, what am I about to watch with Blaney? Because I mean, he's never had this many DNFs, and it's just like, God, I don't know. It's really unfortunate. What'd you say?
I think he's had 7.
Yeah, 7.
That's insane.
Like it's crazy, and it's always when he's having a really, really good day, and then something like this happens. It's like, all right, great. So yeah, it's frustrating, but I'm glad he's okay. I'm glad everybody was okay. We didn't have any crazy, flips over the fence or anything crazy like that. But my God, I don't know. It really sucks that we can get all the way to that point in the race and then have a 28 car wreck that just completely ruins everything that just happened. Like I absolutely hate that.
Go ahead, Peyton. You go
Art
first.
to go. No, I want you to
Nah,
go. You go.
Nah, go.
Okay, so I'm surprised. I thought I was going to be the more negative person here. I've actually got some alternate notes, but I do have a brief overview. I thought in terms of the big restrictor plate tracks, we're not including my beautiful Atlanta, which puts on a great show in the springtime. Closest finish in NASCAR history, 4 wide. It's unbelievable there. And once you go to Atlanta, it's a great American city. Anywho, this was the best big track restrictor plate race of the season, and it was still not very good. It was
not wrong.
It was improved because the conclusion or the last 5 laps of stage 1 were really quite good. They were getting highly aggressive. Watching the one car push Kyle Larson in the corner, and Kyle Larson, who, to put it nicely, doesn't seem like restrictor plate racing is in his skill set, managing to hold on while getting extremely aggressive pushes mid-quarter was a fascinating show of skill and talent, which typically you do not see at these type of tracks because you are so dependent on things outside of your control. I will also say them running 4 wide for multiple laps, while was extremely visually impressive. It was just really, really spectacular to see. It also was great for just giving false hope because you're like, oh, there's Bubba. He's really close to the front. And then you realize that actually he's like 22nd, but he's less than a tenth of a second away from the lead. That was really impressive. And I also imagine in person, the energy coming off of those cars and seeing just a big wall of cars coming at you and going past you has to be visually impressive. And the crowd, that place looked packed. So that also means a lot. So I thought that overall was enjoyable. My main takeaway is I appreciate the nostalgia of the fact that this is a 500-mile race. It felt like the proper length of a NASCAR race that we used to watch, or at least I used to watch as a youngster. And that's just one of the things I do miss. And I understand in this era of limited attention spans, TV time slots wanting to be tighter and more compact, and then also the sport wedging in 2 guaranteed cautions that they don't want to balloon things out. But it made me curious to look about where we've come in terms of length of races compared to when I first started watching in the mid-90s. So this season on the docket, we've got 5 total races slated for 500 miles or more, and that would be Daytona 500, both Talladega races, Coca-Cola 600. This year's instance was about 300 miles, but anywho, and then the Southern 500. So that's 5 total. You compare that to 1995, great year, wasn't even that long ago, and you had 13 500-mile events. You had 2 500-mile Dover races, 2 500 Pocono races. You had Atlanta, those 500 miles. And then we can also add in an extra one because Martinsville, the spring race, was still 500 laps, no longer the 400 event we have now. I'm just going to go and say I wish we do not necessarily need to go back to those 500-mile shows, but yesterday's race was roughly 3.5 hours, and I do not think that is too much to ask for if you're putting on a good product and the racing can manage to be intense. I would like to see it maybe stretch out just a bit more than what we're getting currently. Mm-hmm. I understand why we've moved away from it because a lot of times those Dover races may have not been fantastic. They were just turning laps just to make sure they can make it to the end. They weren't necessarily racing hard. That being said, I think the appetite for NASCAR's fan base, I think they can manage maybe an extra 50 miles, give those folks the track a little bit something back. Maybe you tighten up the stage breaks. Does it need to be, can you run it as a quickie caution? Are there things you can do potentially? I would say yes, because here's the thing. You look at one of the big competitors and the reasons why we don't race on Saturday nights in the fall, college football. if any of you all have sat down and watched a college football game, what they are not is short.
Yep.
Tennessee game came on at 7:30 p.m. We're not going to talk about that. The game actually didn't happen. We're not going to talk about what happened in the game because
it's a bold move of you to bring that up.
Let's talk about Alabama. Let's talk about Alabama and Vanderbilt. That was a great game. Best game I've ever seen in my life. Thank you.
The audacity of this man.
Anywho, stop living in the past. That Tennessee game
I'm
was
not
over.
even going to speak on it.
Anywho, those college football games are taking 3.5 hours, I would say roughly on average, and people are tuning in and watching in droves, and it is absolutely fine. So it just would be nice, and hopefully the fan base can start to perhaps make things a bit more vocal, saying, hey, you don't have to go back to the 500-mile events, but a 3.5-hour long race is not too long. I think it's a good mix. And I would just like to go back because it's just remarkable that we've gone from essentially 13 500-mile events down to 5. And then you still occasionally get, largely from the media, saying, oh, the races are still too long. And then occasionally people say, well, look how short F1 is. And they are completely missing the point when they say that. So overall, I felt like I got a good use of my time watching this weekend's Talladega race. And frankly, the fact that it was 500 miles somehow added to it. It just had the right rhythm that I looked for out of a NASCAR race. So 6 out of 10 would recommend.
All right, bring us home.
Man, Peyton, you said a lot of nice things about this race. I appreciate those nice things. I appreciate the fact that you took the time to take notes and you sound like you really did some soul searching and found genuine positives out of that race. And I appreciate that. I sincerely do. Like, that's no sarcasm. I don't care about none of that, man. I don't care about none of that because this race continues to be another notch on the belt of this trash behind car. And it did something that I never thought possible. And it took something as special and as great as my favorite track on the schedule, the most exciting track on the schedule for me, and they made it mundane. They made it boring. I fell asleep during a Talladega playoff race.
Damn.
Do you realize how badly I want this to be a great race? Every year, these are the 2 races I've circled on my calendar. Like, if I live closer, I'd be there every single year. I tell you what, I love this track so much. A couple things. One, I see so many people posting the clip of the 4 wide racing that Peyton touched on, and it ain't hitting for me in the slightest. When people are comparing this moment to the Auto Club parade lap, that doesn't make it interesting for me. I can appreciate that there's skill in holding a car that straight when you're 4 wide, 7 deep, whatever it was. That takes skill. But to me, that's not exciting. I've said before on the show, if people complain about it being, a freight train around the top, well, then with the next gen, we had 2 freight trains. And I said, that's just as bad because no one can pass. They're just riding side by side instead of one line. Well, now we had 4 freight trains and nobody moved. So I think that's such a weird thing that so many of this race's defenders were planting their flag around. I don't care for it at all. I'm sorry. I hate seeing the field dying with 4 to go. I mean, the entire field. I think they said this was the biggest one ever. Yeah. That was pretty brutal to watch. I was pretty harsh on Brad Keselowski because of your history, Brad, because you have a rap sheet a mile long when it comes to these plate tracks of ruining. I said on Twitter, this man has caused millions of dollars of damage at these plate tracks over these years. And it seemed like he was another culprit again, but I think it was just bad timing on the push. So I'm willing to give him a bit of a pass, not a full pass. And then, just kind of fast forwarding ahead, we had, the green-white checkered that wasn't, this is supposed to be the whole point of overtime is supposed to give you a good show and a great finish. And People battle and fight. Well, I only saw one car try to fight, and it was the 8. I didn't see anybody else try, and nobody went with him. And because this car is so draggy and trash, he just went straight to the back, and no one could get a run. And I'm not necessarily blaming the drivers. I don't think it's a lack of gumption to want to try and make a run. They just know they can't. They know that there's no way to pass anyone in this car in 2 laps. That's not the way it should be. And I keep seeing also people talk about the finish and it's so great, it's so close.
No,
I pretty much expect the finish to be close at Talladega. Like, I'm not surprised. It's like I go to a kid's party and they bring out pizza. I'm like, well, yeah, I expect you to bring out pizza. Like, that's part of the show. Like, it's going to be a close finish. And, these close finishes are really hitting a point of diminishing returns now. It really doesn't matter how close Stenhouse won when I already had 2 better finishes this year. Like, Kansas wasn't that long ago. Atlanta wasn't that long ago. So for you to sit here and say, they went that long and, he won by 1, millimeter of a second. I don't care, dude, because I just watched 2 better finishes and they actually could fight for it. So I really hate it. Then I'm not going to act like the whole race was trash, because it wasn't. When they wanted to race and they weren't riding around, it was pretty racy. The end of stage 1, parts of stage 2 were great. There was some pit strategy going on there, and people were having trouble getting on and off pit road. So I'm not going to act like there was nothing positive out of this race, but I mean, it's another race where everyone's just riding around, and then there's a wreck, and then you have a green, white checkered, and no one can pass. Like, I think we're up to the percentage has to be like 40% green, white checkers at this point for the season. Like, I don't know what the actual number is, but it's gotta be like at least a third to 40%. Like, it's so high. And it's just like, oh, cool, everyone's dead. Oh, okay, cool. We'll just rack it and do it again. And then Stenhouse wins it. And I don't have anything against Ricky personally, but I'm just like, all you had to do was just hold the bottom. Like, you can't pass. Like, you literally just can't pass. Like, we saw Denny try to make a move early in the race, and he went back to like 35th, right? Like, just completely out the chute. And I don't blame anyone but the car and the people responsible for giving them the car at this point, because, as I will continue to say, NASCAR Classics is free. Please go on there, final race. If you're a new fan, if you only been watching racing for less than 5 years, go on there. Like, anything from like 1990 to like 2010, like, you got a nice window of races you can go and watch, and like come back and tell me that this was better than that. I expect more, which is probably my fault. I think I need to adjust my expectations, because and I'm not trying to be like the crotchety old man who's like, oh, back in my day, things were so much better. But I expect more out of a Talladega race than what I got. Because I literally fell asleep in stage 3. That's not a joke. That's not a bit. That's not trying to be funny. It was like, I'm falling asleep. And the people I was watching with woke me up and said, oh, hey, there's 10 to go. You might want to wake up. And I woke up to watch the last 10 laps. If they did not wake me up, I would have been out. I would have been watching it on YouTube to see the finish. And like, it's a bit disheartening. And I think one thing that kind of hits me as well is like, I watched this race and I look on Twitter today, like just now, as we're recording at 10:03 p.m. on Monday, and Jeff Gluck's poll is up, since that's the only way we can measure if anything's a good or bad race anymore. Like, that's the only standard. I don't know how one journalist's weekly poll has become the measuring stick for a whole sport, but whatever. That's another topic. And as it stands, it's 62% liked it. And that's 11,170.62 people that went on there and said they enjoyed that race and thought it was good. And I'm just like, man, if this is what y'all like, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong for liking what you like or enjoying it. Like, if you enjoyed that race, God bless you. But I'm just like, man, maybe this shit maybe ain't meant for me anymore. Like, if this is what y'all are calling a good product out here, because I just hate it. And it's just so disappointing. Because I love this track, and I just would like just a crumb of competitive racing, and like seeing drivers actually be able to control their destiny a little bit. I know it's Talladega. I know you can never have full control. I get you're at the mercy of the pushes, whatever, but just a smidge of agency to be able to try and do something to move forward, whereas everyone else is just blocking. But we can't get that. And until this car changes, it won't. So this race was 2 cheeks for me. I appreciate Peyton's 6 out of 10, but not my house, man. It was dog food. So I'm disappointed. And now we go to the Roval when we have the Charlotte track, the NASCAR track there, which would be a banger. And it would be a great makeup for them to just say, you know what? We know we didn't give you a full Charlotte Oval, for the 600.
Yeah.
We're gonna call an audible, because also apparently we're gonna change the rules on the fly, because that's a thing NASCAR does now, is just change the rules week to week. In terms of getting these like pushbacks and stuff. So we can just change the rules. Let's just change them and just run the oval, please. Like, no one's gonna complain about that. Like, no one's gonna come to you and say we want more Roval. Like, that person's not walking through the door. So yeah, man, I'm going through it. I know it's the playoffs and it's the time, but these are like the dog days of fucking summer for me. Like, these last couple of weeks been hot ass and I hate it.
Yeah, so I did some math based on Denny saying each car cost about $300,000. There was $8.4 million worth of damage done in that huge, unnecessary, woefully stupid wreck yesterday. Which is crazy. Geico leaves NASCAR, huge wreck. Monday comes out, Geico's dropping all Cybertruck owners that they're not insuring it because it doesn't meet their underwriting.
That's hilarious.
It's a bad day to be a car owner or a Cybertruck owner. And then Art brings up a good point. So they cornered Elton Sawyer at the haulers yesterday, saying, "Why you change the DVP?" Sorry, I thought I had to sneeze. We apparently, if you stay in the car and you you yell at the safety workers towing you back to pit road, you get to stay in the race. And if you're on 4 flats, kind of crazy. We caught Joey Logano on 4K doing it. And Elton they asked him, like, why'd you change the rules? He's like, it's a case by case basis,
No, it's
we just try to be fluid in these situations. I'm like, you literally last week just like ruined everybody.
You can't be fluid with that. That's the thing. Like, I don't understand how you think you can be fluid with that.
You can't. That's the problem. If you're serious people and you're a serious sport, you can't be. That's the problem.
Like
that they're not.
What are we doing here? Like, I just
also we don't. All right, I'm already revved up. Fuck it.
Yep.
We want to talk about how bad this fucking race was. Shout out to Race Control for saying, "Hey, we're under a red," and then we're gonna go on yellow, but we're not gonna pace the field. So everyone that's sitting on pit road can just sit there and work on their cars for 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever that was.
That was insane.
How are you not
photo finish?
How are you gonna do this? I mean, I tell you what, ever since Indy, like. It seems almost like the tower was like, oh, you thought that was bad? Okay, I'll show you bad. They're like that kid that's like, oh, you think I'm making a scene in the store now? All right, I'm kicking over this display. Like, I'm pouring soda on the floor now. Like, that's the kind of tantrum I feel like I've had with these people that are just asleep on the wheel. And yeah, like, I mean, to Blaney got told you have to be taken back. And now it's like, it's case by case. But if it's Chase Elliott, we could tow Chase Elliott back.
Literally just completely altered the trajectory of Blaney's playoffs by playing in his face like that. And that's what makes me angry, is that whatever happens in these next few races, if for whatever reason he doesn't get to the champ for, something, I'm going to go directly back to that moment. Because what if he had been allowed to continue? We don't know what would have happened. And now it's always going to be a what if. And I hate that. Like, you shouldn't create those what if situations. And then, he's 1 point out of the playoffs or something stupid. Oh God, I don't know what they're doing, but yeah, this is a mess. And I'm glad that people are being vocal about it, because that's always my worry, is that when we start, the fans start noticing this stuff. I feel like there have been so many situations where the drivers just don't say anything. And that they've noticed because they hint at it or, whatever, but they won't say it outright. I'm glad Blaney's just kind of being like, what are y'all doing? Because somebody has to. Like, it's not going to change unless the drivers start making us think about it.
I mean, I tell you what they're not doing. They're not looking at the roof rails on the 6 and the 17 with missing parts. How you just put it on?
I don't get that.
You just put it on this week. You're not looking at that. That's not a DQ. Like that car finished second place. That car almost won.
Nobody to the R&D center. It's crazy.
And y'all not gonna look at that. And you want to talk about the car that finished in first place? Last I checked, you couldn't have a big ass hole in the side of your car where I can see the fucking phone.
While we're getting Art revved up here, Art, I'm not going to make it as a fact finder or a stat finder, but I did get your answer to how many races have gone to overtime so far this year. So by my calculations, 14 of 31 races have gone to overtime. So 45%.
Holy
45%, boy.
Crazy.
So
it's going to be over 50.
And frankly, that Nashville, that should count as like 6
I was about to say that
races.
was like
so take that.
That was a whole nother separate race in itself.
Yeah, so make that 14 like 15 and a quarter. So yeah.
Well, it's going to be over 50 because the Roval's going to have one, Martinsville's going to have one, and Phoenix is going to have one.
Can you imagine an overtime finish to decide the championship?
Jesus.
Listen, if they're going to find a speck of dust in the uppermost corner of turn 4, and they're going to put it out, dude. The second they take the white, like I guarantee, that's the real bet you should put your money on. Will the championship race finish with a green, white checker or not? That's where the real money, Jared.
It's just like roulette at this point. You guarantee to win.
That's pretty good odds. 50-50.
It's pretty good odds. It's a much better bet than having Ricky Stenhouse Jr. as the highest finishing Chevrolet.
I just look at
I'm not gonna get over that.
He's doing his interview at the end of the race, and I look at the car and I'm like, is that the fucking foam? Like, is that allowed? Like, isn't that not allowed? Like, and I understand, like, oh, you're a winner or whatever, but then it's like, that's a rule, right? I was like, I didn't make that up. That's a rule. You can't have that.
There's a bear bond on that thing or something.
So why wasn't he forced to pit? And then I want to know, are you going to give it hypothetical? Now, this is probably why they didn't do it. Was you're going to give it to Brad with the missing pieces?
They didn't call him
He finished second. But I got eyeballs. I can see it's not on there.
The official saw it too. They let it slide. Is it important or is it not, NASCAR? We wasting time. Double-sided tape.
Jenny pointed it out. Now they'll be like, "Oh, we didn't see anything."
Funny how you never do. Funny that those eyeballs are real.
But let that be some other drivers. Okay.
Let it be a Toyota without the fans on and see what happens.
You mean to tell me the same people that could find that Denny and Kyle Busch had like 2 layers of wrap on their car? Couldn't see the big ass hole with the foam.
And that's a church.
Or the big gap where the fin stops. The first week of the fin. This isn't a 20-week item. It's week 1. You just put it on 72 hours ago. But you're not looking at it. That's what I mean. Like, that's how I know, like, I can't take you seriously because you don't take yourself seriously. Because if you're missing these problems on first and second place, like, what are the most important positions at the end of the race, Arthur? First and second place. Which ones should you be looking at? First and second place. So, like, whatever, man. Y'all got it, NASCAR. Y'all got it.
And then, we're gonna keep it pushing. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to shout out SMI for investing unnecessarily. Nobody asked for it, for the improvements for the Roval after Fox shut down the 600. We've said this a million times. I'm just gonna say it one more time. Instead of putting all the efforts into fishing a road course car that doesn't like being on road courses, give us 1.5 miles. Give me a fall Charlotte Bank of America 500. That race would be effing fantastic. At night. Give me the nostalgia.
Charlotte at night is like the most beautiful thing I've ever experienced. Like, and this is why I'm still mad about the Coke 600, because we were out there
in the rain, quote unquote.
And it wasn't raining. It was fine. If we had that race at midnight, Charlotte Coke 600 racing, that was about to cook. I'm sorry. Like, they messed up so badly with that because it was going to be so lit. And I'm never going to forgive them for that. And I really wish, especially now, the weather's cooler, like it's nice outside. It would be so cool to have a night race, ending this round of the playoffs at Charlotte on the oval. Like, it makes, that's why I'm not going to the Roval, because I'm just like, I'm not paying $100 to sit there and watch a road course. I'm sorry. Like, I just, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, yeah, okay, it's Charlotte. It's cool. Everybody's going to be there, but I can't justify doing that, because I honestly was very bored last year. And then Daniel knocking Bubba out of the playoffs just completely ruined my day. So, I want to see the oval. I really think the oval would cook at this stage of the playoffs. I don't understand why they won't do it.
Speaking of Bubba, shout out to the spin move he learned from Kyle Busch, or Kurt Busch, one of the KBs.
It was Kyle. Kyle did that at the Coke 600 last year. After he got like spun out.
After he got spun out. After that daring move, Bubba sacrifices or saves rather his day in Talladega, finishes P9. Tyler Reddick with the Nasty Beast car finishes 20th. But like I said, thankfully for Reddick's sake, everybody else died around him. So he advanced positions in the playoffs. I'll never understand this sport. Pretty good day from the crew. You know what I'm saying? Rather quiet. Bubba got out front, led some laps, but thanks to the 4-ride shenanigans, he went from first to like 22nd in like 3 laps because everybody kept coming down off the top and getting in front of him. We need to do something about this car on super speedways, but quiet day for 2011. I'm gonna see if they have the same speed as they had last year this year at the Roval. Thoughts, feelings, opinions on 2311's performance from this race weekend?
Survived.
Yeah.
I mean, Bubba got a top 10, which is great. Reddick is above the cut line. That's about as good as you could ask for, honestly. I mean, outside of a win, but you take it.
Them being able to get that car, and when I say that car, the 45 back during that weird sort of caution period where they weren't moving, and be able to work on the car with no penalty, that saved their day.
Hilarious.
Because otherwise they were going to have a very, very bad day. But luckily they were able to leapfrog all those cars. Like I mentioned last time, that Tyler Reddick has not had a fantastic run of playoffs. Yeah, it's not been super fantastic in the playoffs. Didn't have a great weekend last weekend. Was having a just okay day yesterday, and that sort of bailed him out. So now he can go into the Roval and sort of go in with a bit more ease. Oddly enough, this round feels sort of more like a traditional first round would, where the guys who kind of shouldn't or were kind of sort of borderline are sort of showing why they were borderline being there. You look at a Daniel Suarez, he sort of showed why he was sort of borderline getting in. So oddly enough, this round feels a lot more normal than what you would just feel like more like a normal first round. But anywho, yeah, they got bailed out yesterday.
Well, this is what happens when almost half the playoffs field gets in off of one good day. It shouldn't be there.
Seems like a stupid format.
Very telling. Very, very telling. Let's move to Lights Too Bright. Lights Too Bright is brought to you by our partners over at Nectar Sunglasses. Use our promo code VictoryLaneVibes to save 15% off your sunglasses order. They're real nice, they're real shiny, they're polarized, and they're really inexpensive. So nectarsunglasses.com, VictoryLaneVibes to save 15%. And now we're going to give out awards. Alex Bowman, you, sir. Lights Too Bright for me. Kind of a necessary push. Kind of almost killed Ryan Bland again. I feel like him and Ryan, when they get together, Alex is always the aggressor. And I just feel bad for Ryan because once again he's firewall deep into the safer barrier at a track where he shouldn't be. Hitting the wall at almost a 90-degree angle is never okay. This time I have Alex Bowman to blame. I would list some people's names that root for him from our group chat and roast them publicly, but I'll save that slander for later. Your driver is trash.
Tell him.
And you need to root for somebody who's more qualified. If he loses his car after this year, just circle back to this wreck with the magnifying glass and just point and laugh.
It's okay. Raj taking that seat. Don't even worry about it.
Oh,
Don't even worry about it.
Oh yeah. He won't
Don't
be in there
even
long
worry
anyway.
about it. Raj in the ally suit, chef's kiss. It's coming. It's on the way.
It's coming soon. It's coming. That's my latest super.
That's a good one. I'll go since I'm already talking, I guess. My on-track lights too bright has to be Suarez, right? Like, brother, man, what are you doing? My friend,
you can put it there. I mean, that's it.
I should have bookmarked that video. I wanted to play it on air so you could just hear the spotter beg him, plead with him, please don't go middle.
They did everything they could. This is what happens. You know, they gave you all the answers to the test, and you said, "Nah, I'm a ball of the paper, throw it in the trash." Like, the penalty's not that bad, dude. Like, you just don't have to go 2 laps down. And you weren't gonna go 2 laps down. The stage ain't long enough for it.
500-mile race, like Peyton pointed out, like 7 times. He won directing, so.
I feel so bad for BJ because, like, dude's up there minding his own business, riding on the top, thinking, "Oh, there's no way I'm going 50 miles an hour faster. He won't. Oh my God!" Like this poor man is innocent. Come on, dude. And like I said, I like Daniel a lot. I think he's great for the sport. I think he's a talented driver, but I feel like for his position, well, especially with his standing, will be at the end of this season. I just feel like my boy is heads out over his skis. Like, it's just, this ain't the first time he's made a couple head scratchers this year where you're like, what you doing? Like, what'd you see there? Just help me understand like what you were thinking in that moment. SVG need to go ahead and take that car over, but that's another topic for another story. Connor, you know, I thought it was gonna be SVG. Now it sounds like Connor gonna take that seat. So it's me and me go on the clock. That's all I'm gonna say. Anyway, sorry, that's all I got. Daniel, you got it. I can keep going if y'all don't want to jump. I got plenty.
Yep, you hit the button. You know you got to speak before Art jump back in. You know he found out.
Sorry, I was just sitting here on Nectar's website just checking out some of these beautiful sunglasses.
Attaboy.
Man, tell you what, it's the for me, it's the Shenandoah that I think is the pair that I'm going to have sent to my house. But anyway, I knew it was obvious that Daniel Suarez was going to be the lights too bright. I mean, he nearly Kevin LePage the field. It was spectacular. Even my wife, she was watching, she said, "What the hell is he doing?" as he then rode off the field. And then you also had it with the 38 later on, kind of doing the same thing, slowing the line, even though it was really actually the 6 car causing all of it. But anywho, I decided to do a deep cut for you in terms of lights too bright. Folks, we've all been there before. You've messed up. You screwed up. You got in trouble. Maybe you got in trouble with your parents. You got in trouble at school, a loved one, or something like that. Maybe at work. You know what they tell you not to do? Don't make the situation worse. Just take your lick and just move on. You can recover from this. And this is what I'm trying to tell my friend Ben Rhodes. Ben Rhodes, who was upset that he's not on prospects list for the future. Talented driver, won the championship last year, 2nd time in a row. Gets drunk, comically doing so after the race. He gets a illegal procedure penalty. Let's just call it jumping the start, essentially, at the start. Goes too soon. Has to serve a drive-through penalty. That sucks. What a bummer. But you know what you don't want to do is turn that 1-lap penalty essentially into a 2-lapper by failing to hit the blend line correctly. Get your ass back through another drive-through penalty, then finds yourself in the back end. And you know what happens when you're back in the mess? you end up getting a DNF. That's a bad situation. I'm not even going to sit here and say that it was due to lack of talent, just one of those things. But what you can't do is, one, at the very start of the race, get a penalty, and then immediately tack on another. That's lights too bright behavior. Sorry, Ben Rhodes. It had to be you. Maybe next time. I mean, you thought you had some cover by having two dudes near the Kevin LePage of the field, but I knew that we had to seek someone else out. So unfortunately, it's you, Ben Rhodes. Yeah.
Don't be sorry. He earned that shit.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, he really thought he had cover. Like, he was probably thinking, like, man, what a dumb day. I feel really goofy about everything that happened. And then he watched Sundays like, you know what? I'm off the hook. And then, yeah, I had to go sniff it around. So, yeah, sorry, Ben. Tough luck.
Yeah.
Oh, man. It's gonna have to be the the Priest, Harrison, Joey, Brad combination. My God, y'all ruined so much. Like, I just needed y'all to hold it and just be good for a few more laps. Like, it was almost there. The finish was about to be so great. And we got robbed of that because y'all just wanted to plow through everyone. Like, I get it. Like, it sucks that we can't be, mega aggressive with this stuff, but my God, just hold it. Like, y'all did so great the whole race and then just completely forgot common sense in that moment. Like, oh my God, just the video makes me like angry to the point where I can physically feel the anger. And I feel for Austin, but really just the whole field, because we went the whole race. Yeah, okay, we had a few little bobbles here and there. They went the whole race and it was so good. And then 28 cars get wrecked because y'all just wanted to plow through Austin Cindric. Like, come on, man. Y'all know better than that. Like, that's just... It's bad. And really, if you watch the video, like, you can see Briscoe, like, he really was pushing, and it just accordioned from there. And I don't know. It's always, one of them at the scene of the crime. And that was the funniest part, is they were all in that same line. And when I saw that, I said, oh God. And I was sitting there trying to, like, pray for Austin, like, please just somehow get through that. And as soon as I thought that, it happened. And I was like, of course, because you have all of the regular criminals here in the same line. Of course, they're going to mess it up. So, yeah, it's got to be all of them, because they really screwed that up in that moment. I was completely speechless for a few minutes because I cannot believe it was that bad. But yeah, they really ruined a great finish.
You remember the Key and Peele skit with the substitute teacher? And it's like the second time he comes back and he's like, all the usual suspects.
It literally, that's exactly what I said. I was like, my God, because I didn't see who it was at first. Like, when I was like first like glancing at the TV, and then I was seeing the 6, and then I saw the 22, and then I see a 4. I was like, oh hell, here we go. And yeah, so my God. And again, it's one of those what if situations. Like, what if they had just behaved, let it go a few more laps, and then everybody just kind of do whatever? Like, at least we would have had a cool finish. But it ruined the whole race. I mean, 28 cars. That's crazy. 28.
Hey, shout out BJ McLeod too. He finished 22nd. Just give him his props, because he shoved Suarez to the inside where he deserved to be, and came home with a good finish. So shout out Big Dog. You know what I'm saying? Small teams getting it done. You know what I'm saying? Open mic. Arthur and I had an idea, and depending on if we get this email, depends upon whether or not our idea will come to pass. But just stay tuned to the interwebs and the socials and the things. There was some malfeasance.
Oh my God!
There was some malfeasance a couple weeks ago.
I thought Carl took out the sound bar. Apparently, he left one button behind.
Yeah, it was like I said, that we'll enlighten you more. Just rub your chin. You might win something here shortly. That's all I can say about that. Anyone else? Open topics. Peyton, you have any wise words of wisdom?
Okay.
You want to leave us with?
Uncle Peyton.
I have no idea who the favorite is for the championship, and frankly, I don't care, and I think that's a problem. Does anyone know who the favorite is for this?
I guess we could pick who's
With the way these
getting
races have been
kicked out.
going, we can't. I don't know.
I guess we can do who's gonna lose their stripe after Sunday.
It's gonna be someone stupid.
But it's just like this is.
You have 4 chances at that, Art.
It's just been a weird season,
it's been very weird.
It's gonna be somebody like Byron who's just like in the background the entire way, and then they cheat the hell out of the car at Phoenix, and then he wins because there'll be a green white checker.
A pretty big amount of points, so that's actual legitimate possibility of happening.
And again, imagine if that wreck hadn't happened. And this is what I'm saying. This is
if they didn't cheat up the DVP
literally
clock,
change the trajectory of the playoffs.
I mean, look at Denny. Denny gained like 20 spots, and I'm happy for him. But like he gained like 20 spots. He would be right around that cut line, that that bubble, if it wasn't for that.
Talk about it.
No, it's gonna be something stupid. It's gonna be like Denny. It'll be Denny and Byron, and then Denny will blow a tire, and then they'll go to a green white checkered, and then like Ross will race Willie B really hard because he's Ross, like he did last year, and Willie will win, and the drive for 5 can finally find peace, and I can go off into the sunset. That's what's gonna happen.
I love
Clip
NASCAR.
it.
I love NASCAR, but I hate it so damn much. Like I legitimately, I look forward to it. I sit there, I go to a bunch of races, I spend good money, and I enjoy it. And I've circled back to I don't really care, and it's a lot more enjoyable. And truthfully, it kind of helps that Bubba's not in the playoffs. That way, I can just sit there and just flip the old brain switch off and just watch cars go in circles, make big loud noises, and
and that's why I've been so vocal about that like lately, because it really is like I can't just take it seriously right now, and I don't want to, and it's better that way. And so that's why I'm just like, you know what, okay, I'm sitting here, I'm watching cars go in circles. I was in Atlanta just chilling because I knew, Bubba wasn't in the playoffs. Like it was just like whatever. I was just chilling, and it was fun. It was great to just sit there and enjoy it because I love Atlanta. I'm like Peyton. Like I honestly, that's probably my favorite track because it's so fun to watch the racing there, and it was just nice to not stress about it. And that's really where I'm at with that. Like I haven't even bought tickets for Martinsville yet because I'm not sure if I want to go. But
man,
I'm just kind of like, well, that's what I'm saying. Like I went to the spring race.
Though. I love that.
Yeah, like I went to the spring race and it was boring.
Do you like
Look, have they changed anything on the car to affect the short track package?
Jesus Christ!
If the answer to that question will tell you if you should buy tickets to that race.
Exactly, and I'm not spending that much money to watch what I watched in the spring. I'm sorry, like I cannot justify that, and so I'm perfectly fine with sitting at home. I'd rather do the special events around the track during that weekend because it's nearby. But I'm not paying $75, $100, whatever, to watch a parade of cars.
There's a choo-choo train in the background at Martinsville. That's whimsical. I'm sorry, like Martinsville is high on my list just because of the.
It's a great track. Like, don't get me wrong, it's fun. I love it.
The racing is good. The racing is good, but you got hot dogs, you got a train in the back.
Lizzies.
Exactly. It's charming.
Literally. Yeah, but it's just it's sad that I'm just so like nonchalant about it because it's Martinsville. Like, come on. And I hate that, but I'm just like, I'm not gonna do that. And I can't justify doing that. That's why I'm not going to the Roval. I may end up going to Martinsville last minute if I feel like it, but right now I'm just not motivated to do it. So yeah, I don't know, but it's a lot better when you just kind of let stuff go and just enjoy it. Hey, fast cars going in a circle. It's fun.
And what's funny is it's a weird place. So like when the Titans are out of it, which is pretty much as soon as they start the season,
Correct. Yes.
the enjoyment of the individual games sort of falls off greatly because winning is kind of detrimental. Same thing with basketball. Once your team's out of contention, the games become a lot less fun or interesting. But with racing, it's because each one is its own unique individual event. You can still derive enjoyment. Like, you obviously hope for your driver to do well, but you're not stressing over all the stupid things that this sport does in terms of how it's officiated or how they legislate it. All of this just going towards the fact that having a winner takes all is just the dumbest freaking way to do it for essentially a series of small random events.
Exactly.
So, anywho, the fact that it becomes a lot more enjoyable the moment you just get rid of you stop thinking about the points is kind of remarkable and kind of damning. But hey, why would NASCAR care? Because I'm still watching. So. Anyway, Arthur is the smartest but angriest one among us because he's not going to be watching next year, but he also is really angry.
I mean, like I say every time, like, if I didn't care, I wouldn't be as worked up. Like, it's clear that.
But you didn't refute. I said you're angry, and you're very angry.
No, I don't disagree with you. I'm saying if I didn't care, I wouldn't be upset. Oh no, I admit, like, this season has been a slog for me personally. Ever since Indy, I've been like, all right, what are these idiots going to do again this week? And like most often than not, more weeks than not, I'm like, oh, there we go. That's what they did. And like my issue has always been, and it's funny because now they're getting sued. It's that the people that are in charge just don't want to make meaningful change.
Yep.
Who's excited in a week from now to hear Goodyear come out and say, all right, we tweaked the tire compound. We got it. We're going to see tire wear at Martinsville. Yeah, bud. And I got a bridge in Brooklyn I can sell you too while we're at it. Like, come on, dude. Like, it's insulting my intelligence to continue to believe you until I'm shown different. Like, I am doing myself a disservice by believing you. So, I mean, yeah, like if like the group chat hits me up and they're like, hey, yo, we're 8 races in. They done changed the next gen car. Like, shit's fire. I'll be like, all right, cool. I'll watch it. I'll give you a week. But if that race is trash, I'm like, all right, deuces. I see it. Catch you down the road, I guess, when like something changes. But like, I cannot allow myself to be tricked into believing something that is clearly not shown any sign of happening. And that is meaningful change to the way these races are run from race control and from the development of this car, because this car has not had any major changes to it since it's been released. And it was a good first year and then a 2-year slog that's been awful. So you made Martinsville and Talladega boring. That's your crowning achievement with this car. More so than, because I guarantee you, for all the 1.5 miles that have been great, there's been just as many short track races that have been trash. Oh, and by the way, the last 2 races of the season are short tracks, which by your own system are the 2 races that matter the most. So
just terrible. Just
terrible garbage.
Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen,
somebody else say something. I don't want to end it like that now.
I was going to ask, are we going to do the picks for who's
thank God,
who's losing the stripe?
I'm about to. Someone's going to be sitting.
I was going to say who's losing the stripe. I can do mine right quick because I got the NASCAR app up. You know what I'm saying? So losing the yellow are everybody down at the bottom. Joey, Daniel, Austin, and Chase. I don't think there's going to be some malfeasance. I love that word. I think they changed the layout just to allow for more passing zones, or for allow more people to get dump trucked out of the way.
That's exactly what.
Both things are going to happen. But I just think that with the deficit that Chase Briscoe has, the deficit Cindric has, Daniel Suarez being Daniel Suarez, and Joey, I think, is going to catch a bad beat. I don't think that they're going to progress to the round of 8.
Joey got a receipt coming. You know, that's. I would want to be in that car. That's all I'm saying. Not this week. I feel like someone's gonna put proverbial hands, feet, bumper to him. once the green flag drops.
They had a chrome bumper on that thing this weekend, but
I wonder though. I feel like maybe one of them could get out of there, but it's just going to depend on it. Maybe one of them could get out of there if someone above the line just has a really terrible day, and that's very possible.
Are you predicting walk-off, or you just think that this would be a horrible, no good, very bad day by somebody?
I don't know. And especially since we don't know how this course is going to look for them, I feel like that's kind of the exciting part because it could very well just be someone's like absolute strength, and then someone who should be good just has a terrible day. Who knows?
Right.
But I mean, even last year at the Roval, like there were some pretty interesting wrecks. So I don't know. It's very possible that somebody above the line could end up below it. So I wonder if it could flip. But I do still kind of feel like everyone below it right now has just had the worst luck. And I mean, honestly, I don't think Briscoe should be there at all. So whatever. But it's just. I don't know if anyone below the line right now is going to be able to get above it, but someone above the line will have to have a really bad day for that to happen.
They're too buried. I hate to break it to everyone, but everyone below that cut line is just too buried. I mean, you look at Chase Briscoe, that's 32 points now. That ain't happening. He'll do some. I wanted to say something really mean. He'll do. Actually, I'll say it. He'll do something stupid.
Probably.
You got Austin Cindric. I don't want to say anything mean, but that's just too big of a hole. 29 points. Nah, just got to take a win. He's not going to be able to produce that, sadly. Daniel Suarez, he's got one win on a road course, but his pace hasn't been phenomenal. No, don't see it there. Joe Logano, just not really a road course specialist. The big problem is the people above the cut line are all quite good on road courses, and to my understanding have taken road course wins in the past 3 years, and that does include the much maligned Alex Bowman, and I hope to God I've used the word maligned correctly, because there's nothing worse than the black guy who uses big words but uses them all wrong. No one wants to be that.
What a malfeasance.
Yeah, hopefully I didn't malfeasance myself. Chase Elliott, I don't even feel like is vulnerable. Tyler Reddick, I want to say, just given on the way he's performed so far this playoffs, would be a threat, but I think he's going to qualify well enough to get critical stage points and give him breathing room, where, like you said, I think, what did you say, Jerry, someone gets dump trucked into that new...
Oh, absolutely.
Murder, she wrote.
Gets dump trucked. I don't know why that's making me laugh so much. Even if he gets dump trucked in stage 2, should be fine. So it would just take it. I think where it is, it would just take such a early bad defeat, and I do not know among them. Like, obviously, Joey Logano would probably be the most, like, just because he's closest to it. But if you were just,
he's gonna drive like a madman, though. That's gonna be interesting.
Yeah. So if I was just to randomly guess one, just because, why not? Watch it. Just no. Austin Cindric can't do it without a win. Yeah, you've got the field locked in. Bad round. This should have been the first round. This is a bad job by NASCAR. Yeah, you've already got your conclusion.
And again, that's it. Like, it's just, there's not going to be a ton of passing that I can, predict. So, yeah, I mean, it's like, how would you even get above the line at this point? Like, it's going to be really hard.
We are in the future. We're going to study how this is the most surprising people to be eliminated, because if you were to look at the people who were at the bottom or on the bubble and say, hey, when do you think these people got eliminated? You'd say, oh, first round. Like, oh yeah, Joey Logano, Daniel Suarez, Austin Cindric, Chase Briscoe. Like, oh yeah, they got shut out early on. Like, and they would just assume that Harrison Burton would have also been escorted out. This has just been a weird start to the playoffs. So yeah. We're finally getting our round.
And I mean, Austin's been doing great. He just gets, this week he gets wrecked out. But my God, in Atlanta, he was cooking.
I will say,
Talladega, he was cooking. Like,
Kiana, I've got to say, I'm not sure if I'm going to necessarily full-heartedly say I was wrong, but I've been impressed with Austin Cindric in the playoffs. He has produced points at a great clip, so I'll give you that. When he won at Gateway, I was like, well, that's a waste of spot. I tell you what, he has been productive.
It reminds me of Ryan's run last year, though. That's what's frustrating, is that I feel like he, without these like really bad wrecks, he was kind of on the same trajectory as Ryan. And he's like, he's getting the points at the right time, and he's, leading laps at the right time. But then it just, it gets ruined at the very end of the race, and it sucks. And I mean, that happened to Bubba a bunch of times this season too. So yeah, like it's frustrating to watch, because I know he would have had a great shot at getting in the 8 without all of this happening. So yeah, I'm bummed for him, because it's right there. But he's young. I mean, he's still very new to this series, and I feel like people forget that too. So yeah, I mean, he's got plenty of time.
Well, if Arthur,
I feel like Joey makes it. I don't know why. I don't have anything scientific to back that, but I just feel like that's a really veteran team, and I know road courses aren't his forte, but I just have a feeling he's gonna find a way to sneak some stage points and like you said, just drive like crazy. And if there's anyone that knows how to be a bulldozer in this field, it's Joey.
Right.
So this really
this
really might play to his strengths. Like, it's not a finesse track really in terms of road courses versus, I don't know, like a Coda maybe or something like that. So I'm gonna say he finds a way in. I mean, who would I bump out? I think Tyler would make it. I think Ryan would make it. This is assuming none of them get in wrecks. The only one I wonder about would be Alex. So I mean, he's really been bolstered by stage points. Like they pointed out on the broadcast, like he's gotten stage points, I think, basically every single race. So that's kind of been carrying him. So unless he qualifies well, he's not going to have that buffer to support him, at least through stage 1. So I could see a world where, Joey gets 14 stage points and finds a way to outpoint Alex at the end. Like, I could see that. I don't think that's impossible. I mean, everyone else I think is a pretty sure bet. Danny, Kyle, Bell, Byron obviously already locked in. Like, I think all of those guys are fine. They're way above the cut line. But I feel like of those people in 5 through 8, I think Reddick I feel the safest about. And then maybe Blaney and Chase. I mean, Chase is still really great. Like, I think, in the Gen 6, he was a terror on these road courses. But with the Gen 7, he's never been able to regain that form. So if there's a Gen 6 race, like, I'd pick Chase just to win the whole damn thing, to be honest with you. But I honestly feel like if I can pick a winner for the race, I think it's going to be SVG, honestly. I'm hoping he sweeps this weekend personally. But yeah, I feel like Joey finds a way to get it done. I don't know how, I don't know why, but that team is really good and they've been together a long time. I just don't see their run ending this early. So someone might end up, getting dumped and wrecked in stage 1, and that just ends their day, and that changes everything.
Yep.
An SVG weekend sweep would feed families.
Sure would.
It's me. I'm families. I want it. I need it.
Shout out.
I already have all the pre-order diecast.
Shout out to WeatherTech for picking up the tab for next year for him, and the 8.8 with Trackhouse next season. So that'll be cool to see. Somebody said on Twitter, I wish they could have kept the 97. I wish they could have as well, but I understand if you want to bring in some other international talent to use that number. But I'll still be sad that it's not on the track. But yeah. With that, Peyton's got to go get his cookies. Let's
get out of here, everybody. Scrambling out of time.
Appreciate y'all for listening. Like, comment, subscribe. We will see y'all post Roval. And Peyton got to share them toll houses. We out.